I was accepted into med school, and my goal was to become a family doctor and to do a work that is significant, that can impact powerfully, like significantly, positively the lives of people, you know. So I went to medicine, and it was pretty hard. It was really hard, and at some point I thought I wasn't gonna make it, but I thought I was gonna have to give it all up because it's really hard. But when I finished med school and I started practicing as a family doctor, then it got really depressing. Then I thought, okay, I did not waste one whole year doing science classes. I wasted 9 years of my prime years, my late 20s and all my 30s going to med school, because the work that I do now is not great. It's not helpful. It's not making a difference, because a family doctor nowadays is somebody who needs to see patients every 10 minutes, every 15 minutes or so. They come in with all kinds of complaints, and you hardly have any time to discuss with them. You end up prescribing pills and pills and pills and more pills to cover the side effects of the first pills you prescribed, and patients are not getting any better. And it's really working in a sickness. And it wasn't what I imagined it would be. But then I was pregnant at the time with my second child. And so I took a maternity leave, obviously. And during my maternity leave, other doctors told me about this great book that was called The Obesity Code by Dr. Jason Fung. And they said to me quickly, oh, you can eat fat and like lose weight. And to be honest, I was postpartum, so I was hoping to lose a few pounds. So in a really like close-minded, selfish way, I read that book for myself just to lose a few pounds. But I discovered, what I read in my book basically changed my life, my personal life, but also my professional life. So whoever hasn't read yet The Obesity Code by Dr. Jason Fung, he's a Toronto nephrologist, so a kidney expert, a kidney doctor. And so that book really, it was the door that opened for me into the world of metabolic health, nutrition, low carb, fasting, hyperinsulinemia, insulin resistance, and all that. And it was amazing. It was amazing to read that book, but it was also really frustrating. Actually, I was quite mad. I read that book and I was really pissed off, if I can say that. I was really mad. And part of my brain is still occupied. A few neurons of mine are occupied 24/7 at being mad, because ever since I read that book, because I had just finished med school and residency, and basically nothing that is written in that book was taught to me. I never learned about hyperinsulinemia. I never learned about insulin resistance. I never learned about eating carbs, what eating carbs do inside to your metabolic system, what is really type 2 diabetes, what is really obesity, what is really fatty liver, hypertension, all those diseases, the chronic diseases that are related to insulin, therefore related to lifestyle habits. I never learned any of that, and I had just graduated. So I was quite mad. But sometimes you read something and you're like, oh, it sounds really good on paper, but does it hold true in reality? Does it actually work? So I thought, well, I'm in maternity leave anyway, so I have a bit of time to try it and see what happens. So I designed like a 2-week plan for myself, and I applied that, to the T, and I did it religiously, perfectly for 2 weeks. And seriously, I had results right away. My energy was better, and my baby was not a sleeper. Like he's still a bad sleeper, but he was a terrible sleeper back then. So I was really drained from energy. And when you're really, really tired for all kinds of reasons, you tend to eat more. So I was gaining weight in my postpartum, despite the fact that I was breastfeeding. So I was gaining weight. And all of a sudden, I wasn't sleeping anymore. I wasn't exercising anymore. I wasn't doing anything different except what I was eating and what I was not eating. And that I started losing weight, but I started to get more energy. I started to get more mental clarity. I started to feel better, to be in a better mood. And so I thought, okay, this makes sense in theory on paper, but it also seems to be working for me. There is something there that, I need to explore further. And if it really works the way it seems to be working, then I need to be able to tell my patients about this. They deserve to know. So I reached out to Dr. Jason Fung and his clinic director, Megan Ramos. They are in Toronto. I'm in around Montreal, so it's just a 6-hour drive. And I said, I wrote to them and I said, please teach me how to do this with patients. I need to learn this medicine. Because I felt that this type of medicine would be a medicine that would make a difference, that would make, that would bring positive changes, that wouldn't be about sickness, but would be about health. And to make a long story short, they both said, okay, come, So a few months later, I had my spot because a lot of people wanted to train with them. They closed their clinics. So their clinic has been closed since December 2019, just before the pandemic hit. But back in those days, they had people, observers and learners every week almost. So a few months later, I had my opportunity to go to Toronto and spend a week with them. And it was life-changing. It was amazing. I always said I could never unsee what I saw there, unlearn what I learned there. I could never practice medicine the same way ever again after spending a week with them. It was completely life-changing. I mean, their patients were coming in happy, skipping, like almost singing or something. They were smiling and they were happy to come and tell Megan and tell Jason how well they were doing, how their blood sugar had gone down again, how they've lost another few kilos again, and how they felt so much better. And it was one patient after the other, after the other, after the other coming in and feeling better. And we don't see that in medicine, especially with chronic diseases. Nobody who's type 2 diabetes comes to my office to say, hey, I'm doing better. Oh, I'm doing even better than the last time I saw you, doctor. I just came in to tell you how better I am. I don't really need anything from you. No, that never happens. In regular medicine, family medicine clinic, patients come in because they're not doing well. Their blood sugars are higher than they were. We need more medicine. We need more, blood sugar lowering. Their tension, their blood pressure is higher than it was 2 months ago. They've gained, and they've gained weight again, and they're feeling depressed and discouraged and all of that. This is what we see every day, all the time. People who are not patients, who are not doing better, but not their patient. Their patients were doing much better. And so after I finished my week of observation with them, I said, I need to do this medicine. And I have the strongest feeling that this is why I went into medicine. I want to make a difference. Prescribing pills will not make a difference, but teaching patients to do this will make a difference. And so that's how I founded Clinique Reversa in January 2017. And it's a not-for-profit, but it's not free because we have to pay for, the nurses, the kinesiologists, the psychologists, the admin assistant, the coaches, everybody who's involved in that multidisciplinary team. But I don't make any money from it. It's actually, it takes time away from doing regular medicine, but I love it. It pays me 100 times on a different level, in a different way. It pays me with gratification of knowing that, professional satisfaction of knowing that my patients are getting better. Since we founded the clinic in 2017, we've had approximately 2,000 patients come in for the 6-month program. So we have like a cohort of about 16 patients around every 2 weeks or so. So that's how I went from, being a translator to being a family doctor, a miserable family doctor, to being a doctor who's very much interested in biometabolic health and everything we can do to change our lifestyle habits, to take control of our own health and to get better instead of getting worse.
Wow, what an amazing story. We are so grateful for people like you in the world who really are so passionate about something and care so much that the dollar amount is much less important than that feeling at the end of the day, knowing you made a difference in somebody's life. I absolutely love that. And I love Jason Fung. I followed his work for a long time. And he is so good at explaining the science, and especially when it comes to things like insulin resistance and how insulin works in the body. And I love the way he approaches that, but I also love the way he approaches things in the way that's like kind of common sense. Like, as much as we, love the studies and love the science and love to get all the data, there's also like, let's just use our brains and think about this. And he has this like really sarcastic and kind of snarky way of like telling people like, your body is not stupid. Like, why are you putting more carbohydrates into a person that has a problem with carbohydrates? And like kids don't need like all of these snacks and Gatorades to go play soccer. We never had that when we grew up. You just go play. And so I love that he takes that approach when he explains things. And I couldn't agree more about Obesity Code. If you have not read it, put it on your list. It's absolutely amazing. Do you remember some of the biggest like principles that really blew your mind about that book?
Anything that had to do with what is insulin, what does it do inside your body, what is hyperinsulinemia, so when you have too much going around in your blood, and what is insulin resistance and everything that it does in your body. He doesn't go over everything that it does in your body, but it's a good enough intro that you understand that the more insulin you have in your body, the sicker you are. Bickman goes into a deeper dive into insulin resistance and the trouble with insulin in his book, Why We Get Sick, which is another excellent book. But I think Jason covers enough of what is insulin, what is insulin resistance, to be an eye opener. And I do not understand how come that is not in the radar of most faculty medicine. We do not get that taught. And I read that book in 2016. I graduated in 2015. So it's not even like, back in the days, 30 years ago when I did my degree, we didn't know anything about insulin resistance. We do. We know about insulin resistance. We don't care. We pretend it doesn't exist. We pretend it's not important. We don't even teach it in the faculties of medicine. How crazy is that?